Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this video we are doing yet another makeup and series review video. So we'll be putting on our makeup while talking about a series. You guys, it's been such a long time since I've been thinking about doing this video. I watched the series a long time ago with the intent of doing the video, and then time passed by, and then I watched it again and did my notes, and I still just filmed other content, did other things, and I was just pull yourself together, get this video done. So yesterday I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, should I watch it one last time and just prepare and I was like, girl, you have notes, you go through those notes. Honestly, I have some thoughts about this show, and so I feel like I don't know if I would have been able to put myself through sitting down and watching it again. But anyways, let's get into the video and get talking about it. So the series that I am going to be talking about is Sex Life. Sex Life is a Netflix series, and it was released this year, early on this year. I think it's July or August this year. And as you can tell from the title, this series is very much sex is the main idea, it's the main premise, it's just the main thing. That's what it's about, that's the main plot and all that, and that's what the storyline follows. We have the main characters. I personally feel like Billy is actually right at the center of the story. She actually is. It feels almost as if she's going through a midlife crisis, even though she's just in her 30s. She's reflecting on her life and feels like, oh my gosh, everything seems to be going so well. And so why does it feel like something is lacking in my life? I feel like I should probably use concealer. Probably should have. I felt like winging it, but now I think nope, it's not a good idea. So let's just start over. So Billy is currently on her second child. She has 4 or 5 year old, she has a toddler, and then she has a 3 month old, few months old baby, a baby, and she lives in the country and is currently a housewife. And so she's just like, oh my gosh, I have a perfect husband, I have kids that I love, and so why am I thinking about my ex? That's literally what it's about. She is thinking about the sex she used to have with her ex. She is reminiscing about that old life, and I guess you could just say she feels sexually deprived by her husband. And so that's why her thoughts are constantly going back to the ex that she had just before she met her husband. So Billy thinks it's actually best to start writing a journal about her thoughts and feelings, and she's just writing in her journal. It's on her laptop, and she keeps writing and writing in it sexually graphic in graphic detail about the sex that she misses and the sex that she used to have with her ex. And her husband finally, towards the end of this episode, he actually finds her journal, and he reads it, and it's a mess. It's a mess. You can imagine if you're the husband and you find this kind of thing, or if you're a spouse generally and you find this sort of thing, fine, we'll say it's invasion of privacy, but imagine finding that sort of thing, right? So Billy tries to go confide in her best friend, and she goes to her place to try and find her, and that's when she actually finds out that her best friend is sleeping with her ex that she's been writing about in her journal. In the next episode, we get to learn a little bit more about Brad, the ex, that he's actually, you know, like a bad boy living on the edge type of personality, and that was him then, that's him now, that's her ex that she's thinking about so much lately. That's him, that's the guy. And obviously he is very much a contrast of her current, like her husband, who is a good guy, a gentle, sweet guy, literally just adorable. Is that bad? Is that bad? Like, I just think he's perfect. I think he's just a good human being. He's a perfect being. And then, like, versus like the bad boy, live on the edge type of life. That's what we get to see, and we see scenes of their relationship, the things he used to do that are so on the edge. Like, there's one time he actually takes Billy to the railroad and actually tries to convince her to get on there with him, and I'm just like,
what the hell are you doing?
Come on.
I don't care who you are, I'm not doing that with you. Like, I really am not. Like, honestly, I don't understand. Like, some things are just TV, honestly. And if it's not just TV, then I don't want to judge you, but I'm judging. Like, please, like, just honestly, some things are just don't do it. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? Why? Give me one good reason why you would do that. Honestly, 10 marks. Anyways, as obviously Billy knows that Cooper, her husband, has read the journal, and she tries to like kind of address it. He really just brushes it off. He doesn't, I guess in the moment, doesn't want to talk about it. But then as the episode progresses, he starts doing the things he read, which I find very weird. Like, who does that? Like, who actually does that? Like, do people do that? Like, do people actually do that? That's very weird. Like, honestly, like, that is sick. Like, it's very weird. Like, I personally feel like, why would you do that? Like, you know, this is not like her fantasy. This is what she did with the ex. How does that work out well for you? Like, why would you do something that she's done with somebody else? Like, how does that serve you? Aren't you just gonna remind her more of the ex and then create this sort of unhealthy comparison? That's really not necessary, honestly. Anyways, when Cooper starts doing this, Bailey doesn't see anything wrong with it. Like, she actually is like, oh, this is what your sweetheart husband does when he finds your journal with what you used to do with your super hot sexy ex. Like, I'm just like, so nobody finds this shit weird? Like, this is really not weird according to you guys. And like, honestly, and like, even when she tells her best friend's like, okay girl, you go girl, you've unlocked this thing. Like, it's really like nobody sees this thing as a weird thing. But anyways, just as I think they're over the hiccup and all that, the ex, Brad, he texts Billy. He actually calls, he's like, oh, I've never stopped thinking about you in the past 8 years. That's how long ago their relationship ended. And for some reason, I mean, I guess because she's been thinking about him, and also because they're dating for such a long time, and I guess she was in love with him, she can't just like drop the call or like delete the text and move on with her life. She's also just like, I've been thinking about you. Well, that's how she feels, but she doesn't really say that to him. She's just like she gets all flustered and like, oh my gosh, my ex wants me. Like, it's just very weird for me. In the next episode, Cooper does not only have like sort of like borderline fascination, obsession with this journal, so a point where he starts jerking off to the stories in the journal. Very weird. But anyways, he also Googles the ex because he wants to see, like, I guess, who is he, what does he do for a living, what does he look like, You know, he's just curious. And it sort of seems like he's developed an obsession about this ex. It's like, I need to find him. I need to find out what he does, who he is, all that. It starts disturbing his work life and real life. Like he needs to see this ex, right? He's just thinking about him so much. I mean, I guess it makes sense seeing as the guy has now entered his marriage, but still, it was a bit excessive. In this episode, we are introduced to the toxic side of Brad. We start hearing all these bad stories. So he wasn't all that perfect. It wasn't all roses. Like, he was actually really toxic. I mean, Sasha, Billy's best friend, knows this. She knew the ins and outs of their relationship, and to be honest, she doesn't really want a relationship from Brad. And so when Billy said, oh no, I'm okay, I really don't care that you guys are sleeping with each other, like, honestly, I'm happily married, so do whatever you want, I really don't care. I guess Sasha was like, okay, and then she went back there. So that is happening while Billy is trying to figure out, control herself basically. And meanwhile, Cooper's obsession with Brad is just growing. And he even gets himself to confront Brad and be like, please, like, you better stay away from my wife, da 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 da, you know, all that. Like, he's like, you need to stay away from Billy. And obviously Brad, being Brad, he's not going to just like that. But anyways, meanwhile, Cooper also starts a flirtationship with his boss. But to be fair, he didn't start it, he was just responding to it. And he was going through that whole weird thing in his marriage. And so he was not in his right space of mind, which I'm not excusing him, but I kind of am, because I know the whole story of the couple, so I kind of am. Mind you, we are already halfway through the series, and this is as much content that I can speak about. We are already 4 episodes in of an 8-episode long season, and that's pretty much the build up and what's unfolded thus far. But obviously Cooper's not handling it well. Things are not going so as Billy thought. You know, everything's not ironed out. And so they finally decide to address the journal and address what Cooper read. And, you know, hash it out. So they talk about their sex life, and Billy's like, this is why I did it, this is why I started writing the journal. And Cooper talks about actually confronting Brad and insinuates that they're having an affair. And for some reason, to combat this, to divert the attention, Billy thinks it's a good idea to say, oh no, we're not even having an affair. In fact, him and Sasha are in a relationship, which is a lie. But anyway, she thinks this is what is going to save her marriage. And she actually says, to prove it, we're going to invite them to have dinner. So you're gonna have dinner with your ex, who you've been writing about in your journal, who has told you hasn't stopped thinking about you, with your friend, and sort of have them pretend to be a couple when you know very well they're not, and you know very well he is unpredictable. So it's not to say he will actually play by the book and he will stick to the storyline. And you're gonna have that guy and your husband in the same room. But anyways, that's her plan. Not only was this date obviously awkward and just messed up, but some very weird conversations were had and topics were brought up, obviously provoked by Brad. as I suspected. And to a point where Billy's just like, okay, she tries to excuse herself from the table and goes to the bathroom, and guess who follows her? Well, not immediately, but we all knew, like literally even Cooper knew when Brad got up from the table that he's going after my wife. I know it for real. So when they end up going to the bathroom, and they're in the bathroom at the same time, and Brad is like, I'm not gearing up on you, and as they're having this conversation and Billy's just trying to just get him to go away, Cooper walks in because they'd been in the bathroom for a while now, and Cooper's like, I can't believe even when I'm here you guys are still gonna like have the audacity to be together in the bathroom. Then he leaves and goes to some work thing, leaving his wife behind, leaving everybody behind, honestly. And Sasha also is mad at her friend, like, you can't screw up your marriage over this guy. Like, he's an asshole. He doesn't deserve it. You gave him a million chances when you guys were together, and now you're gonna let him mess up your perfect marriage, your beautiful family, for him. Like, he's totally not worth it. And then she leaves there. Like, she's the second person who leaves, and so now it's just Brad and Billy left together. And Brad is like, let me give you a lift on my... And of course, instead of waiting for a taxi or calling a taxi as she should, she's like, sure, you know what, I'll catch a lift with you. I guess that makes sense. And he ends up coming to their home. He even asks to go inside, see the kids. She lets this happen. It's just very weird and annoying. Like, it's just it's so weird. Like, I'm just like, is this okay? Like, do people actually do this? Like, does this make sense? It did not make sense to me. But anyways, I was just like, I can't with Billy. I really cannot. I can't. Like, honestly, with everything going on in your marriage, with your husband suspecting you're actually cheating with this man, and you're actually gonna bring him into your home to see your children, and you're gonna take a ride with him, like, it's just very weird. But that's Billy. That is our main character. That is her life. That is messed up, and she is sexually deprived, I guess. She said, like, she described herself as sexually insatiable, and obviously I guess that's supposed to be like a hot thing in the show, or as part of the show, I guess. And I'm just like, I don't see how that's a good thing. Like, I really don't. I do not. But anyways, again, maybe it's just me. So this is a cream eyeshadow, and it is taking forever to set on its own, and it's now creasing. So I'm gonna try and keep on blending it and see how it goes. Cooper was actually at a work dinner thing where they were meeting a client, which sort of kind of ended up seeming like a date with his boss. It was, I don't know. I can't explain what I saw was going on. Like, they had this little weird flirtationship going. So it was just like, they both kind of didn't want to admit it, but it was there. But yeah, that's what basically happens, and really nothing goes on at the date. Nothing weird, nothing out of, besides the subtle sort of flirting, sort of not, that was going on. And Cooper goes back home, and they have a conversation about the date and how it went, and how Billy got home and all that. And obviously it becomes a fight. It really becomes a fight to a point where their marriage is seriously falling apart. Brad is on his mission to get Billy back, so he's just like trying his ultimate best to just try and either break them apart or get Billy to give him another chance, or both. Episode 6 is really the highlight of their marital problems. Guys, I hate what the sun is doing here. Like, I really, like, today it's literally playing peekaboo, playing hide and seek. It's just the worst. Like, I hope you guys can still see me properly, but yeah, You will definitely be seeing drastic changes of lighting throughout this video, and I hate it, but pretty sure you guys can still see me though. It's just very weird when like the sun changes drastically, you know. It's like it's there and then it's like not so there, but there. So while Brad is on mission get Billy back, Billy got obviously like a serious wake-up call, and she's now on mission let me fix my marriage. They together with Cooper decide as a couple that they want to work harder on their marriage and they want to work better on their sex life. And a couple of friends, not a couple of, like their friends and a couple their friends, their married couple, actually let them know that they are actually into sex parties. They go to these private sex parties and they can get them an invite, and so they agree and they're like, you know what, maybe this is what we need to spice up our sex life, and this is something new to both of them, so it will be something they're both experiencing for the first time. And Cooper is really like, this is really not his thing, but like he's like, you know what, I'll try it, I'll give it a try. But all of a sudden when they get there and they finally settling into the party, Billy gets cold feet. She's like, no, people are watching, as if she didn't like that type of stuff with her ex, as if that's not the type of stuff she wrote with her ex about, like having sex in public places and places where you could get caught, and in, you know, all these risky type of situations. Like, you know, you're like, people are watching me, and there's obviously everybody's watching everybody. Like why are you making such a big deal when you agree to come here? And this guy is obviously like out of his depth. This is not his thing, but he's willing to try it. But anyways, that's what happens, and she's just like, I'm not having it. And obviously they end up having to go home, but like Cooper ended up getting in a fight with his friend, and it's just, he got violent, and the friend actually happens to work at his company as well. Well, not like they work together, so it became like an HR issue. It just messed up his life basically. He was just like about to get promoted, about to be made partner, and it was just like, well, because of this we can't do that anymore. And his life was literally turned upside down, like just like that, like literally just like that. His life was in shambles. His life was a mess. Obviously Cooper's also like low-key pissed, because he's like, I know you wouldn't have to know if it was your ex, like with the sex party situation. So a lot is going on at the same time. Like it's just like, you say we should try something new, and then we try it, and then you're not willing to go through with it because it's with me. So basically, if you're honest, you want a sex life, just not with me. Basically, you want to do all that, just not with me. So it's the end of episode 7, and obviously tensions are high because of the fights, because of what happened at the sex party, because of everything. And just as all that happens, Brad is still on his mission, get Billy back. And he now knows where their house is, so he goes to their house. He goes to their house and actually proposes marriage to Billy. So now Billy has options and has a decision to make. Do I save my marriage, or do I just go to my dear old Brad, my ex-lover? And the thing is, he made it a whole shebang. Like, he made it seem like, oh, I meant to do this before the last time we broke up, but like I was too scared of whatever, attachment, this, that, commitment. And so he literally claims like, this is the ring that I bought before we broke up. I actually bought it to propose to you on this night, and instead this happened, and we ended up breaking up. But I kept it this whole time because I never stopped thinking about you. And that's his whole proposal basically. I don't know, at this point, like, it took so much out of me to get like keep watching and actually try and find the storyline, try and find some depth in this story, because I'm just like, this is so shallow, this is so, like, I can't believe this woman is having this dilemma, especially after that episode. Like, the very first time they showed us that like Brad was actually bad for her and he was actually toxic. I was like, why would you want to leave your perfectly good marriage, your perfect husband, your kids? Well, obviously you're not gonna leave your kids, but you get what I mean. Like, for an ex who's not worth it. Like, he's literally not worth it. Like, not even a single bit. He's really not worth it. All because of her insatiable sexual desires. Throw that all away, why don't you? I wouldn't know. Because I wouldn't. I would sure not make that decision. And episode 8, like, literally Cooper's reflecting and he's just realizing that I've changed so much just trying to be the man that she wants or desires, trying to fit myself into that. Like, I've gotten into a fight, I have gone to sex clubs, I have done this, I've done that, all these things that are out of character. And basically I feel like, honestly, there's a lesson in that. Sometimes when people are not for you, they're not for you. Like, sometimes when things are not for you, they're not for you. You shouldn't try and convince or try and keep people by changing ourselves so you can fit into their lives, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if something works, it will fit. And sometimes something works and then at some point it stops working, it just doesn't work anymore, and that's also okay. That is life. That is life, honestly. Like, that's just it. That's life. Like, honestly, sometimes you just need to step away from a situation because it's starting to change you, or because it doesn't align with who you are anymore, or it's not for you. So instead of trying to fit into that, sometimes you just need to walk away. And that's just a lesson that I felt appropriate to add in there. But anyways, back to episode 8, right? So Cooper goes to Brad's house. Obviously he has all these like memories, like it's his penthouse, has all these flashbacks from when he wrote the journal of all the spots they're having sex again, and he's like, ugh. But anyways, he has an honest conversation with Brad about Billy, and you know what, they're both actually bigger men about it. Like, they both wear their big men pants and have like an actual proper conversation. And after this conversation is when Cooper decides, you know what, actually, let me fight for my marriage. Let me fight for my marriage. But Billy's life is actually also affected by the sex party scandal. So after what happened at the sex party, he was so embarrassed that Trina, the lady from the couple that took them to the sex party, she spread the story that Cooper and Billy actually invited them to a sex party. They're sex party people, and obviously people have like negative connotations to it. And so yeah, and she was like, when they wanted to leave, that Cooper actually got into a fight with Devon, who is Trina's husband. That is obviously far from the truth because they're the ones who got them to come to the sex party. And Devon kind of pushed Cooper to the fight, but that's the story that's already being sold to people, and people are eating it up. So obviously at the school, her child is being treated some way because the mums don't want their kids to play with her child anymore. They're also treating her some way at these like school bakery what things that people do at schools that parents attend, like those, what do you call them? I want to say soccer mom. I want to say like housewife moms who have time to attend everything. I think every parent wants to do that, but like obviously not every parent has the luxury, so to say, to do that all the time, to attend everything. But those ladies who obviously have time to attend everything, gossip can go around, and so it went around and people were not so nice to her. People were saying negative things about her. It was just bad. It was bad enough that they were doing it about to her, but it was too bad when they were even telling their kids not to play with her kids, you know, like they were just playing dirty now. Like, it was just bad. So finally Billy and Cooper get to talk, and they're like, we're gonna work on our marriage. This is obviously towards like the end of the series, and it's like, oh, we're gonna work on our marriage. we're gonna work on this, we're gonna work on that, we're gonna work on honesty, you know, some cute stuff was said, some good planning. It's just like, oh, okay, you're willing to work on that even after everything. Oh, you go, guys. Like, I guess this is the hiccup you guys needed to realize that you appreciate each other. You know, the lesson you guys needed. And they lived happily ever after. Or did they? Obviously, this is series, and they want to end it on some note. Regardless of the lack of like punch in the storyline, it got a little bit boring for me. It got a little bit stale, it got a little bit monotonous. But regardless of that, they still wanted to have like a cliffhanger, a moment that will be like, if we actually end up doing a season 2, what would it be about? So why would we do and it ended happily ever after? What good would that be? You know, why would people want to watch season 2? So they tried it. The closing scene honestly does it for me. Like, it really does it for me. When I say Billy was running for her life, I mean it. I mean, that girl was running for her life. And if you could take a wild guess where she was running to, because she was running for her life and she was on a mission to get to her dear ex Brad, because she's like, well, it turns out my life as it is not perfect, and I need some of that Brad loving in my life. Mind you, this is like 8 p.m. like, this is like late, so this is the time that your husband is back from work. Generally people are expected to be home unless they have like obviously like commitment or other reasons to be out of the house. But back at home, Cooper had something up his sleeve. He actually installed a tracking app on his wife's phone, so he can see that she's busy running the streets of New York, and she's running around the area that Brad's complex or apartment penthouse is at. He is literally watching her running. Literally, Cooper was just there on his phone tracking his wife, watching her running in the streets, running. Well, he wasn't actually seeing her running, but the tracker, like the thing was moving so fast, like he could see this girl, she's going the direction of her ex. That time we literally just said we fixing things. Like, what is she doing? What is happening? He was just in his bathroom watching this, and he was just pissed. He was like, I can see where she's going. Anybody would be pissed in that situation. The closing scene is Billy getting to Brad's apartment, penthouse. I keep saying apartment. She gets to Brad's penthouse and she's like, I'm not leaving my husband, but I'm gonna need a little favor from you. Some horizontal tango, if you get what I mean. That's not how she's. They're like, that's our closing scene. We have it, guys. We have it. We have a hook. We have something that will keep them captivated. Something that will make them want to see a season 2. And you know what, you guys? That's my honest thoughts on this series. I just feel like it was so much sex, so little like depth, so little content. Like, it just did not hit. It did not have that storyline that's like a punch. Like, it's literally 8 episodes dragged out about like a woman who was having fantasy about her ex because she was being sexually deprived by her husband, but then they finally talk about it, but she's still thinking about the ex. He's so toxic, but she still wants to go back to him. She's giving him many chances in the past and he fucked up, but she still wants to go back to him. Like, how is that even a thing? Like, all because of sex? Like, is that it? Or is there more to it that I'm missing? Because I'm just like, this is really not giving me like storyline whatsoever. Like, it's literally just like, oh, I guess we wanted to do a sexually graphic series, and yeah, we'll figure out what the storyline will be as we're making it, and we just like, oh, okay, let's just make it about a 30-something-year-old who wants to have like a freaky sexual life. Like maybe she just misses her 20s and she used to have it, and like that's the whole premise of the series. That's really the storyline we're getting. Like that is it. Like that is literally it, you guys. Like that is it in 8 episodes, and they just keep showing us flashbacks of their sex, I guess, and that is literally it. Like it lacks depth, and also I feel like it's so cliche. Like literally every scene that I've seen, whether it's a making up or it's a argument, it was like, yeah, I see how that is something that could happen on TV. I see how that's something that could happen on like a TV show. I see how that's something that can happen in a movie. I see how like that's been done before. Like it literally had no, it kind of didn't have suspense. Like there was nothing that just says, oh my gosh, I wonder what's gonna happen next. I wonder what's gonna happen next. Or even when it was there, it was never to like a point where you're just like, I really don't know what's gonna happen next. It was just more so annoying. It was like, can we get this done already, you know? And I will not lie though, I will not lie, I don't know if it has to do with my sense of humor or if I just thought it was stupid, but I really just found it funny. Like I just kept on laughing because I was like, there is no way this is real. There is no way this is a dilemma. Like there is no way this is happening. Is this real? Obviously it's TV, but I'm like, are they for real? Like, is this seriously what we're getting? Like, are you really? That's so cliche. Oh my gosh. So literally I was laughing like throughout. I was like, oh hell no. And I just found it funny. But I will say though, they're coming up with a season 2, and like obviously as I was watching the series, I just felt like it's not worth watching a season 2, and I just felt like it didn't have depth. Yeah, sometimes people want to see sexual like or sensual content. Sometimes if you're an adult, you're just like, I want to see some action, but like you can't like give me sex scene after sex scene after sex scene and like little storyline. Like what is it with this whole the story of like a broken guy who is just, you know, he's broken and this girl has to fix him and he keeps pushing her away but she keeps on coming back. Like that has been so overplayed in this type of content, in these types of shows and movies. I'm just like, can we get something else? Like, I mean, at the same time, maybe they're just trying to do what they know has been tried and tested and has been making money, and I guess there is an audience for it. I guess maybe there's people who want to watch it. Generally, I guess it's a good thing that it's like an adult themed thing, not only because of the graphic nature of the sex, but also because it kind of promotes toxic relationships, like these types of content. And so at least when it's targeted towards a more mature audience, people can see that. Obviously, like, you can make your own judgment on that. This is not the goal, this is not the type of relationship you want to have, this is just TV. Like in real life, there is no way, if you're an adult and in real life you would struggle between who to pick between a Brad and a Cooper. Honestly, as an adult, like, you're a grown person and you're struggling. I don't even know what to say. Like, honestly, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't want to judge you. I don't even want to say get help, because like I don't know, like, maybe get help. Because I don't understand, like, why would you, like, I feel like the choice is so obvious. Go for the secure guy, mature guy, the guy that you know your relationship is solid. Like, you never know with a Brad. Like, he could say he loves you today and throw you out tomorrow. Like, what do you mean? Like, why would you struggle to pick between the two? But anyways, guys, I will not lie, I have a feeling that I might watch season 2. I really have a feeling that I might watch season 2, literally for the single reason that I just want to see Brad pick him, not Brad, I just want to see Cooper pick himself. Like, he's worth so much more. He really does not need all this. Like, he's gone through so much. I just really want to see him pick himself and just walk out of this relationship, like honestly. And I feel like low-key they're not gonna give that to me. Like low-key, he's just never gonna pick himself, like, which is sad, which is gonna be another toxic cycle, basically another toxic relationship, basically. So I don't know if I'll watch season 2, but if you are somebody who is, if you're looking for something that's light, you're not really looking for a storyline, maybe you want to see some sex scenes, maybe, I don't know, you can watch it. Or you want to watch it for, yeah, like just something light that doesn't really have depth. Honestly, I wouldn't promote it if you're trying to look for something that will engage you that much. It really gets mad at some point. It really just like flats out and you're just like, when is this gonna end? Like honestly, I watched it till the end just because I had a video. Like literally from episode 1, I was already just like, okay, is this it? Is this the dilemma that we're being presented with, you know? And I thought there'd be more, but like when we got to episode 2, I'm just like, I guess this is it. And then episode 3, I'm like, when is this coming to an end? Like honestly, as it went on, it just kind of became, it almost got stale, honestly. But I got to the end, and you guys, thank you so much for watching this video till the very end. If you watched till the end, remember to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't joined the fam yet. Check out my other videos where I reviewed series and movies. I have a playlist, so I'll put it up in the cards. Check that out. Leave me a comment about what you think about Sex Life if you've watched it, or what you think about this type of content based on this review. If you actually haven't watched it, would you watch it after watching this review? Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in my next video.
I'm not leaving my husband. This changes nothing.